So, like I said, if I didn't miss any, did I miss anything else NFL wise? The Stephen A. LeBron beef is the craziest beef since Tupac and Biggie. It's headed that way. I hope it doesn't, but it's Drake, Kendrick. Now we put Stephen A. and LeBron. So if you guys didn't know last week, LeBron approached Stephen A. at the Knicks Lakers game during a timeout. I thought this was after
Mm-hmm.
the game, but it was during a timeout. Approached him
Mm-hmm.
and said, "Keep Bronny's name out of your mouth." And then what's crazy is Stephen A. was like, "I wasn't going to address it until it became viral." Now you knew good and well it's going to be viral. Like as soon as they push send to Twitter and Instagram, you knew it was going to come. But he's like, "I was reluctant to do it, but I had to do it." Now ever since he went on First Take and explained it Friday, Saturday, he went on Gil's Arena podcast yesterday, and even
Yeah.
further tried to put a gangster fit on like he was Martin from that episode of Martin when he took the CD player, had the chain around. Like, what's he
Mm-hmm.
doing? Like, he thinks he's Suge Knight now, Stephen A. Smith. So, uh, like, whose side are you on, Mike? Are you with Braun or are you with Stephen A. Smith?
Um, I get Braun. I get Braun's perspective,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm more. I'm kind of on the side of Stephen A. from the standpoint of he's doing his job. But the fact that we're talking about Bronny is just ridiculous to me
I agree. Yeah.
because Bronny James, it really is just irrelevant. There's no reason at all for us to be talking about Bronny James.
Mm-hmm.
None. And but LeBron being who he is, his actions and confront him made it a conversation. And because Bronny decided to go professional, enter his name in the draft and everything, and get drafted, now that you're a professional player, you're now on Stephen A's radar, or
Right.
any sports media personality's radar.
Right.
When you're a professional, when you turn pro. And that's why I said, when the first conversation came out, when they first went viral, um, I went on and I said that I wish that Barney would have stayed in school a little bit longer. I think that was a huge push because I put some of this on Barney too.
Mm-hmm.
You're a grown man at this point.
Mm-hmm.
You can speak for yourself, but I wish he would have stayed in school. I wish you can transfer. You could have went to Duke. You could have went to Ohio State. Could have stayed at USC if you want to, and you could have been the man wherever you wanted. In any college you picked, you would have been the man. You would have been the one we're talking about. Heading into March Madness.
Yeah.
Whatever team, depending on the record.
Mm-hmm.
We would have been talking about you. We would have been talking about your numbers. We were talking about how good you were. Instead, all we have is a few good highlights from the G League and a game against Philly, and I mean the very little numbers that you have in the NBA.
Right.
You know, and this big push for Bronny to be in the league. This, I don't know if you call it peer, if it was peer pressure or what, but
Mm-hmm.
I know LeBron wanted to play with his son,
Right.
and I mean,
He pushed the Lakers to draft him. Right. Right.
and I mean, the thing is, everyone knew at the time that he put his name in the draft that Bronny was not ready. I mean,
Well, he did also say that he was better than half the players in the league. This was last year,
he
by the way.
did say that. he did say that, and
which was
you
kind of
know
stupid. Which was like LeBron, okay, we get that you're trying to
this
hype him up, but like,
this is the second round. Kyle Filipowski, Tyler Smith, Tyler
mhm,
Kolek, Johnny Murphy, Juan Nunez. This is the second round
mhm,
of the 2024
mhm,
draft.
yeah,
AJ Mitchell.
mhm,
The only people really worth talking about in the second round is our guys, from the Grizzlies.
yeah,
Jalen Wells,
doing well,
who's
yeah,
playing
mhm,
significant minutes,
mhm.
and Cam Spencer.
You can't Spencer. Yeah, that's it.
And then Bronny James at 55, you know, Anton Watson,
Half of
Kevin
them are not even on the
McKellar.
team. Half of them are not even on the team.
I
The
mean,
people
Cam
that,
Spencer, we know is better than Bronny James.
yeah, yeah,
You know what I'm saying? So, uh,
older, yeah, he's older. He's got to jump. Yeah, I get it.
yeah, and he played college ball. I
Won a
mean,
championship. Won a championship.
yeah. And so, I mean, there's no reason for us to be talking about Bronny James.
No,
And I just feel like, we're wait we're wasting our time. The national media, sports media is wasting their time talking about Bronny.
as a G leaguer, Ronnie is amazing. He just needs, to me, he should have just stayed in G League, and this wouldn't even be a discussion at this point. It really
Yeah,
wouldn't.
I mean, he should just be playing in the G League. And I really do wish him well. I mean, he's a serviceable basketball player.
Yes,
He's
he's
just
got what
not
he needs.
he's
Yeah,
just not basketball. He's not NBA ready right now.
he's not. He's not.
And I think that confrontation, because he had that game against Philly, and he has had a few games in the NBA.
Hmm.
You pretty much exposing yourself to criticism,
Hmm.
you know. So I just wish Bronny stayed in school, and I wish Bronny would speak up for himself.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
if we looking at this, like, and LeBron James, he's not exempt from criticism on this too,
He's not.
because I love LeBron James too. But when his mother, when he started out in the league, and his mother inserted herself in the game,
Hmm.
he said, "Sit your butt down."
Byron, yeah,
You
famous.
know,
Kevin Garnett.
so
Yeah, I famously remember that.
this is your son. He can speak for himself. I just feel like we don't. And with Stephen A, he didn't have to start this conversation. He didn't have to say anything about Bronny James.
Mm-mm. I'm pleading with you as a father. Like it was personal. It was personal. That was like
I mean,
it wasn't about
I think,
Bronny. It was about LeBron. It was
you
personal.
know, it's pointless. Like, why are we bringing up Bronny in the middle after All Star break?
Hmm.
Everyone's hyped and excited about the playoffs and potential matchups and trades and everything, all this good basketball, and we bring up Bronny James. Bronny
And
James.
right.
And I just read the list of players that were in the second round.
Hmm.
We're not even talking about them. We didn't talk. We most certainly didn't talk about Michael Jordan's sons.
Right.
We didn't talk about Michael Jordan's sons when and their potential in college. They played what, 3 or 4 years at UCF.
Hmm.
They we didn't put any pressure on them
Right.
at all.
Right. It,
I'm sure we expected them to be, decent, great, and draftable, but
mhm.
they didn't.
It wasn't like that. I agree.
We as a media, as a people, as fans, we didn't draft the Jordan sons into the NBA.
Hmm.
We didn't put them there.
Right.
Michael Jordan certainly didn't.
I agree. So these last couple of minutes, I mentioned sports media. Also,
Yeah.
Charles and Kendrick Perkins beef going on. What's the
Hmm.
direction of sports media? Like, what can we improve? Like, what's going on with sports media, or sports media just dead? Thanks to Stephen A. and Skip
Well, I think what sports media is, I'm gonna quote Dame Lillard: "Fame is disconnected from excellence.
Mm-hmm,
Fame is disconnected from excellence, and excellence is a standard."
mm-hmm,
And what we have today is we have a lot of sports personalities um, that have become lazy, in my opinion, and they don't really invest in the game, in writing the game, being a storyteller of the game of basketball.
mm-hmm,
You know, we talk about we minimize winning for clickbait, for negative material.
mm-hmm.
You know,
And, and it started with Skip Bayless and Stephen A. Smith when Skip Bayless
yeah,
called Russell Westbrook, or when
yeah.
he called Chris Bosh Scary Bosh, like
It's
LeBron
been a
the
pattern
Brick. Yeah, like
of
the name calling.
dysfunctional
Yes.
reporting,
Yeah.
disrespect of the players,
Mm-hmm.
and toxic storylines to become viral, to get numbers. You know, Stephen A. You know, he boasts about First Take, and First Take is a good show, but a lot of their ratings come from them screaming at each other,
Mm-hmm.
debating each other, you know, and taking jabs at each other, whether it be the player or the analysis, the two personalities taking jabs at each other.
Yeah.
You know, so it's
I hate to say it, but it's going to
you
be
know,
identical if for Stephen A. Because Skip, when he did the Shannon Sharp that December day, when he said that the Tom Brady thing, Tom Brady ruined Shannon and Skip's relationship and ruined that show. Tom Brady did it. Like, I mean, he destroyed Undisputed, because Undisputed was a good show until it just they kept going on and on and on verbatim, repeatedly jabbing each other. It was like Tom Brady really destroyed that show. Stephen A. If he continues to go this route, LeBron James is going to destroy him, because now certain players are not they don't want to talk to Stephen A. because of this Bronny situation. They don't even want to talk to him. So it's like if Stephen A needs to like retool something, rebrand it out.
I
Like,
mean, everyone is has their opinion
mm,
about certain teams and players. You know, Charles Barkley has an opinion. Perkins has an opinion. You know,
yeah,
in my opinion, Perkins he tends to flip flop. To me,
yeah,
that's just my opinion. You know, Charles Barkley, he is funny,
he's
but
direct. He's direct.
he kind of he just says whatever's the top of his head without
Thinking
even
about
knowing sometimes.
it.
Yeah, we talk about LA, and we talking about Golden State because they're winning right now. And you know, you talked about ESPN and how that that's all they talk about is LA and
Yeah.
Golden State. And ESPN, they have talked about OKC, they have talked about Cleveland,
Mhm.
they have talked about those teams. Shaq right now, he's taking heat because he don't even know who the coaches are for the
You saw
Detroit
that.
Pistons.
I saw
And
that.
Detroit, man, I'm tell you something, man. Detroit only has one national televised game, and it's against the Grizzlies.
Mm-hmm.
But Philly has like four.
Yeah.
Like,
But,
what are we doing?
mhm.
We have all these teams that are not even in playoff contention that are going to be on national television, and we only see Detroit. Now, I'm sure they could flex. I'm pretty sure maybe there'll be changes later down the line as we get close to the end of the season.
Yeah.
But I mean, Detroit is in the thick of the playoffs, yo. I mean, they could be top four, if they keep winning.
They could. They're
in the
good.
play, they only have one televised game. I can't even tell you when the last time I saw a Detroit basketball game. I will have to buy the package
Yeah, you have to buy a package or buy
just
like we
just to watch their games
yeah.
or just to keep up with them and with what they're doing.
That was a
But
that was a bad look on Shaq. Like the fact he
I
thought
mean,
Twisted Bills was the Detroit color,
yeah,
navy bigger.
and I mean, we talk and they don't have a chance, and it's just a lot of saying things that we don't know. What we don't know because we not watching,
Right. Whew. Oh my, we can
and
continue this discussion.
I mean that's the thing that's wrong with sports media. We said it,
Mhm.
and the same with the players too. You got some players that don't love the game of basketball.
No, right, right.
They don't.
You know,
They don't take coaching. I think what was really alarming to me was when JJ Redick said, when Luca came in, "Are you open to accepting coaching?" For like a professional coach to have to sit down with a player to ask that question,
hmm
that just tells you the mindset of some of the NBA players. Some NBA players just
don't like coach. Don't like people to
don't
tell them
love the
what to do.
game.
Don't love.
They
Yeah,
just don't love the game.
yeah.
Some, not all, but some.
I agree. Oh my, we need to probably have another deep dive discussion like next week more like to continue this up and then talk about the NCAA tournament. But
Yeah.
whew, man, that was sports media is Skip and Shannon. I'm sorry, they're great for what they are, but they have killed sports media and several other too like Jason Whitlock. There's a lot of people that just kill sports media. So, but boy, we can
Yeah.
continue this
I
debate.
mean, it adds, and we should continue it because, it adds value to the podcast because I love it when NBA players, NFL players,
Mm-hmm.
have their own podcast and they give their side,
Mm-hmm.
or speak to their side. That's why, hey, look, if Bronny James was to come on and just talk about his progression or development in the G League,
Mm-hmm. Right.
people would listen. People, could relate even though he's not a star.
Mm-hmm.
You could tell his truths, his ups and downs of the season.
Sure. That would be something that you'd be
Set
interested
the
in.
record straight.
Yeah, 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 yeah.